Should you pick up a Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4 in 2025? I can't really tell you that for a fact, but I mean, it really is really up to you. I mean, if you're interested in foldables, if you're a Samsung Knight or someone that really likes Samsung OS and things like that in their ecosystem, if you're somebody that is willing to spend around $500 for it, because I think it's around that price. I don't think it's over six. I don't think so. But you can always check that out on Amazon. But I mean, it's still getting updated. I think it has 2 more years of software updates left on it. So it's not like it's get ready to lose support. So if that's something you're concerned about. But I can't really say for sure. It just depends on those type of things. If it's your is it your type of device that you're interested in? Well, I could just tell you this. It's a good phone. If like I said, if you're into foldables, if you're interested in foldables, it's a good phone. Now, one of my favorite things about this device, even though I always use a case, when I take the case off, I love the way this phone feels in my hand. It feels so premium. It really does. It has the frosted back, but it does get slippery for me only because my hands are really dry. When my hands are moist, it's not a problem. But when my hands are dry, this it's a little slippery. And usually I always use cases on my devices anyway. But unlike my Vivo X Fold, which is my Evo X Fold 3, which is my favorite foldable period, I do prefer the thickness of this phone over my Vivo. I do because when it comes to foldables now, it's all about who has the thinnest device. I don't like thin devices. I really don't. And I don't want super thin devices and I don't want super light devices. I want my device to feel like they put parts in here or something. I don't want to feel like a feather. I just don't. I want it to feel some heft. I want to feel something. With this phone, you're going to feel nothing but quality in your hand, top notch quality. You're going to feel some heft. You're going to have that thickness. It's not going to be really hard to open or anything like that. It's going to feel very, very premium. And that's what I like about this device. The hinge, was redefined, refined from the three, was just much smaller. But I really love the thickness, the heft, and the feel of this device. Of course, I like the design, simple design. Now, one of my problems is I don't know why Samsung didn't put flagship cameras in here, like the same cameras that's in the ultra device. I'll say that the ultra devices should be in these devices only because of how expensive these devices are. And I think it's criminal that Samsung does not provide the same camera experience because that's crazy for this to cost $2,000, when it first came out. But then, your Ultra phone has the best cameras, but that's 13. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And also, the S Pen should be inserted into the device. And it's crazy that you can't even use the S Pen on the outer display, only on the inner display, which makes no sense. It should be able to work on both displays. Okay. So the fact that you can't insert it, I think that's crazy. And I have to use a case where you could put the S Pen in the back with a case, and then that's all bulky, and you don't want all that bulk in your pocket. Now, like I said, I like the thickness, but when you add a case with an S Pen, you're adding extra bulk to the device, So I don't like that. But let me share with you the things that I do like and whether you may feel it's worth it, maybe you don't. Now with this always on display, the only reason why I still have this always on display is because I have not updated this device to One UI 6.1 or One UI 6. I just haven't because I don't want to lose this always on display. You're probably saying, well, they got other always on displays. Excuse me, y'all. I'm dealing with a cold. But look, see these notifications, see that they're in their own color, and see how large they are. You're not going to get this. This is going to completely go away if I update this device. Now, some people say, well, why wouldn't you update it? You don't you want to get AI? And I don't care about AI. I could care less. AI to me is making society more and more lazy, and it's going to cost a lot of people their jobs, unfortunately. But I don't need AI. I could care less. I don't care. I don't even use AI. The AI that's on my S23 Ultra, I don't use it. But my main reason, I don't want to lose this always on display. Also, the video, the video app, Samsung's video app, I don't want to lose that either. Let me show you. See it right there? I don't want to lose that either. See, this is the way it looks when you open it up. Now, of course, people tell me they merged it with the camera app, but it don't look like this. I could actually see my videos and I know what they are. When you hit the video, let me show you the difference. So you see that this is my S23 Ultra. I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean so y'all know what I'm talking about. All right, this is the video app plus the camera. This is what I see. I mean, I don't even know what these other movies are. I see numbers and times, but I don't know what they are. You see, with this, I can literally see what everything is. Then when you go to video, it'll show me every video if I choose to do that, but I usually use the folder. But I can clearly see everything. This is the merge, with the video thing merged. Look, this is all I see. I mean, every now and then you may see something pop up, but you still don't know what it is necessarily. Look at this is all you see. Every now and then you may see some stuff on here, that looks familiar, that you may recognize what it is. But most of the time, everything is just black with numbers. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. That's why I'm keeping this. That's why I'm not updating this. The performance is not a problem. The performance on this device is still very good, nice and smooth, nice and fast. As you can see how fast everything is moving. It's not slow. It hasn't slowed down since I got it. Not at all. It hasn't slowed down at all. There's nothing wrong with this device when it comes to performance. And like you said, I have not updated this device at all. Not at all. No updates, no security updates, nothing. Yeah, that's because that's what I chose. But it has not affected the performance of this device. Another thing is when it comes to this front display, it's bigger definitely than the 3, but for me it's still too narrow. It's just still a little bit too narrow for me. It's workable, like you can, tolerate it. Let me open up Facebook. Like you can work with it, but it's just still too narrow. It fills out, everything is filled out when it comes to your Facebook and stuff like that, but it's still just too narrow for me. Like I'm trying to let me see where's Instagram. Even Instagram is fine. You can see everything. It's not a problem. The whole thing is filled out. Okay. But it's still just too narrow for me. Now, I know some of you out there, y'all actually like the dimensions of this device, and I don't have no problem with that. You like what you like. I don't have no problem with that. But for me, it's just too narrow. So the width of the front display on my Vivo X Fold 3 is perfect because that's like a regular candy bar style device. I got it right here. And I'm not really doing a comparison, but I just want you to see the difference. You can clearly see the difference. Okay? This is more like a regular phone that you really don't have to open up at all. See? It's much, much bigger. Much, much bigger. But I know some people are going to like this better, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Now, for me, I'm going with Vivo, and the inner display is definitely much bigger than the Samsung, much bigger and brighter. So that's my thing. And the cameras on here are better than the cameras on here. Even though the cameras on here are not bad at all. They take really beautiful shots. You can check out my full review on this, but they're not touching the Vivo. They're not on Vivo's level. It's just not. But this display is beautiful outside of it being too narrow. It's very beautiful. It's a beautiful AMOLED, dynamic AMOLED display. The side mounted fingerprint sensor is not that great for me. I don't like side mounted fingerprint sensors. The face unlock is mediocre like it always is. That's just, Samsung's face unlock has always been mediocre. I don't know about the S25 and not, but it's mediocre on here. Definitely that. So overall, the outer display is beautiful, with the display. The camera cutout is pretty small, but it's just for me, it's just a little too narrow. Of course, when you open it up, you got the 7.6-inch display, which is a decent size, but this is over 8 inches. And like I said, it comes down to what you like. You may not want something that big. You like, the dimensions of this a little bit better. But you do have Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. You got that armor aluminum frame. You got some drop and scratch resistance, which I don't have any scratches. I haven't dropped this, but like I said, I keep a case on my devices anyway. But it's cool device. You know, you got the 120 hertz refresh rate on the outer and the inner display, which is good. It gets adequately bright, and there's also a toggle in here where you can press and you can make the display even brighter. Now I'm using 100% brightness. Most people are not using their phone at 100% brightness, but if you use the extra brightness, you're definitely going to kill the battery. And let's talk about the battery. That's probably the biggest issue I have with this device. The battery efficiency is not good. I'm like, if I want to use this out inner display a lot, I can't get through a day. With my Vivo, whether I use the inner display all day long, I'm still getting 2 days of battery life on this device. I can't even get through a day with this if I use the inner display. I just can't make it through a day. This thing eats battery whether I use this phone or not. I charged this phone to 100% right before I went to bed last night. I went to bed, woke up, this phone was at 86%. Like, why did I lose 14% battery? It was in do not disturb. I wasn't getting no notifications. I hadn't used it, and I lost 14% overnight. Why? It makes no sense. Okay. Beautiful inner display. Absolutely gorgeous. But the battery life on this device sucks. Now, it might be better for you. I'm using 120 hertz. I'm using 100% brightness. I'm using always on display. Maybe for you, if you turn down the brightness, if you turn off the always on display, if you turn it down to 60 hertz, maybe it works better for you like that. Everybody's battery usage is going to be different, but I'm just saying for me, I like to use this moderate to heavy. I can't get through a full day unless I don't use this inner display that often. I just can't. Just cannot do it. Now, like I said, it's 2 more years of security software updates and 3 more years security patches, which is a good thing. You do get 12 gigs of RAM. You can get this with 512 gigs of storage. I suggest you get that. The larger variant I think would be better. You do have the Snapdragon 8 Plus Generation 1. Like I said, I have no issues with the performance. This thing performs extremely well. Of course, you got that taskbar, which I absolutely love down here, and you get like access to 10 apps. I love that. That's very convenient. Vivo only gives you 8. I wish they give you 10. That's something they may change, hopefully. And of course, the multitasking on here is crazy. You could literally be multitasking using 4 apps at the same time, even though I never do that, honestly. I just don't. Let me show you my normal. My normal is just 2 apps side by side in this exact configuration. I got my YouTube over here and I got my maps over here. This is when I'm on the road traveling and I need to use, the maps to, take me where I need to go. But then on top of that, I can listen to YouTube. And this is the configuration I prefer, not the other way. Even though a lot of people like that way, this is my preferred configuration. but I like how smooth everything moves. See, it's just smooth. I like that a lot. Let me see. What's that configuration again? You could do it like that. You can have the two, put the third one in the middle. Get rid of this one. Let me see. Okay, the whole thing just went away. Hold up. All right. So you can cross them like that. It's nice and it's a nice smooth animation. I like that. So it just depends on you. You can keep switching them. It's just nice and smooth. One UI is my favorite UI. Period. It just is. And I like Vivos, and I like OnePluses, and I like Xiaomi's, but Samsung is number one when it comes to OSs. I just like it, especially when it comes to the foldable. And the reason why I'm gonna show you, look at this. This whole thing is one screen. Now, there's somebody that said something to me down in the comment section saying that was a deal breaker for them because with the Vivo, it's not like that. It's totally different. See, it's totally different. See how I have this and then I have this over here. It's not one full screen. Everything is separated. And some people just don't like this. But this is something you can easily get used to. It's not that big of a deal, but it depends on the individual. With Samsung, you never had to worry about that. See your whole calendar over here. My calendar has to be smaller, unless I just use the front display. But with Samsung, now this is something Vivo should change to make the whole screen. You should be able to make it one thing. Is as opposed to having them on side to side. You should have a choice. Either I want to use the whole entire screen for one widget, or use half and half. Just give us options. It's just nice to have options. So now what Vivo did good recently is that I can now get my notifications, all my notifications on the always on display. But Vivo, the next thing, come on, make it like this. Make it where we can make our widgets one entire screen like this. This is what we want. We want that option. Give us the option. Okay, this is my home screen and this is my home screen. They're both totally different. One is a full screen. One I have to use half a widget over here, half widget over here. This is what a lot of people want. This is why Samsung makes the best software for foldables. They just do. Now, OnePlus makes great software for foldables too, but Samsung's the only one where you could use the entire display like this. And also, you can have a different outer display with Samsung, and you could have a different inner display. So I could set this one up totally different from the inner display. There is no other company out there that I know of where you can do that. How about that, Vivo? How about giving us that option? Because the more you make yourself like Samsung when it comes to the software and the things you can do, I think the more you're gonna sell these. But and I know the biggest thing in this country is you can't even get these devices because they're not available in the States through a carrier. And most people get, their devices through carriers. So it's just unfortunate. But for those of you that can, this is by far a better overall device than the Samsung. Only thing Samsung got over this device here is the software. And that don't mean this software is bad. This software on this device is great, is super customizable, and it's loaded with features. But if you're somebody that's just used to Samsung and that's all you know and that's all you've been using for years, a person like that is going to be nervous and scared to try something different. I would say keep your Samsung, get something else, and use it. And then you're going to see that this is a better overall device. You're getting better performance, better display, better battery life, better better battery charging speeds, better cameras, better speakers, better biometrics. A lot of things on this device is just better. It just is. Now, like I said, I love this device, don't get me wrong, but it ain't touching the Vivo X Fold 3. It's just not. But on here, you get your wireless charging, which is pedestrianly, I'm probably using the word, wrong word, but it's very, very slow. 15 watts, it's a joke. With the Vivo's 50 watts, 25 watts wired. This is was it 80, 80, yeah, 80-watt wired. 80 watts. This is 25. That's a joke. That's an absolute joke. Okay, it doesn't make any sense for the charging speeds on here to be that slow. 4.5 watt reverse, 10 watt. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me back up. Let me apologize now. This is not the Pro. This is the regular. So this does not have wireless charging or reverse wireless charging, but the Pro model of this does. And it's 50. It's that I do have 80-watt wired charging. I do have that. But it's 50. But on the Pro, it has 50-watt wireless charging and 10-watt reverse. This only has 15 and 4.5 when it comes to wireless and reverse, and only 25-watt wired charging. So that's still pathetic. But you do have Samsung Dex for those that use it. I don't use it. It's nice to have it, but I honestly don't use it. I do use Samsung Pass. I use Samsung Notes. Those apps are very important to me. And of course, Good Lock is very important because it adds a extra level and layer of customization. That's pretty awesome, honestly. You do have the stylus support, which I talked about earlier. And the ecosystem, when it comes down to ecosystem, that's gonna matter for a lot of people. If you got earbuds and you got Samsung laptops and tablets and things like that. This is something excuse me. Sorry about that. This is something that you're gonna want. That those are things you're gonna want, when it comes to ecosystem. They're building, Vivo's building their ecosystem, but Samsung is far ahead of them when it comes to ecosystem. Also, if you need your phone repaired, it's going to be a lot easier to do it with the Samsung. And Samsung devices are unlocked for all carriers. That's a big leg up. Now, this does work with AT&T and T-Mobile, but still, this works with every carrier. So, I mean, those are things you got to think about. And I already talked about the cameras. The cameras are far superior on the Vivo than this, but the cameras on here are beautiful. The camera quality and the video quality is beautiful. I don't really have an issue with it. It's just that the Vivos is just better. So I'm going to say this is still a worthwhile pickup overall, honestly. If you're, like I said, if you're into foldables, or if you're interested in trying a foldable. Now, something I did forget to mention, something um, that's not cool, but I mean, I have like some crackage like right up here coming down all the way to here. It's not severe, but something that I noticed, I could feel it with my finger. I don't like that, and it's just gonna just spread eventually. See, now it's right down here. So it's no, it's not up here. It starts right here and it ends right about here. So it's about this long, which is not horrible. But I know some people say, well, just take the screen protector off. I don't want to do that unless I see peelage. Then I may take it off, but it's not peeling, so I'm just gonna leave it. I mean, I still use this. I don't use it like I use my Vivo, but that's something I had to mention. But this has some things that are better than the Vivo, but Vivo overall foldables are just better than the Samsung foldables. And that front this cover display is a big deal for me. I mean, this is a big deal. Knowing that it's this big and the biometrics is better, the performance better, displays better, battery life's better, battery charger speed's better, has an IR blaster, has an alert slider, all those things like that. For those of you that like thin phones, it's thin, it's light, better battery life, better cameras. I mean, it just got so much stuff going for it. But Samsung is still a worthy device to pick up, something you may want to check out and consider. And I didn't intend for this video to be quite this long, but sometime, when I'm talking about these devices, my mouth just tends to go. But is it worth picking up in 2025? I say yes. So thank you all for taking the time to view this content. I do appreciate it. I hope everybody out there staying safe, staying well, and I'll check you guys out in the next one. Peace.